quality of leaders and high achievers in every area seems to be a commitment to an ongoing personal and professional development. Brian Tracy. Invited speakers, respected professors, research scholars, delegates, academicians, and the members of the organizing committee. Good evening, everyone. I, Daivakrupa Nemadi, Assistant Professor, Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology, Andhra Pradesh, India, feel honored to be the moderator on the day two of a 5-day international virtual FGP on research and writing, jointly organized by Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology, Andhra Pradesh, India, and Cape Comorin Trust, India. Before we begin, let me brief you the sessions delivered on the day one. On the day one, the first speaker, Dr. Luis Miguel Cardoso, enlightened the academicians on digital teaching pathways and understanding digital humanities. The talk was very enlightening, and at the end, he has suggested some websites for plagiarism tests and gamification for the students. The second speaker, Dr. Joginder Singh Saklani, gave a thought-provoking session on hypothesis and its formulation. It was a highly edifying session, and he was very active in clarifying the queries of the emerging researchers. Having learned about yesterday's session, I believe that all the participants are looking forward to more knowledge-filled sessions today. Without any delay, let me introduce you the first speaker of the day. The first speaker we have with us today is Dr. Abdul Gopher. He is an associate professor of language teaching at State Islamic Institute of Madura, Indonesia. As a senior lecturer and researcher on ELT in IAN Madura, he rendered his services as a faculty of education for about 17 years. He joined the doctoral program at postgraduate Surabaya University on language teaching, and he is also a PhD student of Muhammadiyah Malang University in politics and social sciences. Besides this, he is also an editor-in-chief in Okara Journal of Language and Literature and a reviewer for several journals in Indonesia. He wrote a good number of books and journal articles on language teaching and literature. He is an assessor of National Accreditation Institution of Senior Higher School in East of Java and the head of Quality Assurance Department of IAN, Madura, Indonesia. He is a president of Indonesian Education Share to Care Volunteers, director of Potalo Pelalo Publishing, and director of IAN Madura Press, head of academic writing and publication of Sebastra, Indonesia. He is now ready to deliver his talk on a very interesting topic, plagiarism and academic integrity in digital era. Dear Professor, it's an honor to have you with us. I hand over the session to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evenings, all the participants. Is it audible?
Audible, sir, audible.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank a friend of mine, Dr. Regin Silvas, for these invitations and all the committee of this conference. First of all, I would like to share the materials. Yeah, for this evening's materials, I would like to share with all the participants dealing with plagiarism and academic integrity in digital age. It's handled by an international future faculty department's program on research and writings. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the first ones, as already explained by the moderators dealing with a little bit of minds, it's on the profile, education, and also work experience up to now. Okay, what we are going to discuss for this afternoon, for this evening, we are going to talk about the plagiarism itself, and also the second one talking about the spectrum, and then academic integrity, and the last one, dishonesty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and all the participants, plagiarism, what we have to know when we talk about the plagiarism itself, we are going to talk about something that is presenting someone else's works or ideas as your own, with or without their consents, by incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement. In this case, all published and unpublished material, whether in some kind of manuscripts, printed, or electronic form, that is covered under these definitions. The plagiarism itself may be intentional or reckless or unintentional under the regulation for examinations. Intentional or reckless plagiarism is some kind of in disciplinary offense. Ladies and gentlemen, for today's student will benefit from taking an online course, for example, which has been developed to provide a useful overview of the issues surrounding plagiarism and all practical ways to avoid it. The necessary to acknowledge others' work or ideas applies not only to text, but also to other media such as computers, code, illustrations, graph, and etc. And it implies equally to published text and data drawn from books and also journals. And then unpublished text and also the data, whether from lecturers, this or other student essay. In this case, you must also attribute the text, the data, and other resources downloaded from website. What about the plagiarism itself? As I already explained just now, it will be presenting the work of someone else and saying it's yours. The plagiarism itself will be part of academic integrity. What I'm going to explain it is that kind of being honest about your work, includes not cheating in exams. The other one talking about the entire assignment, certain passages, individual sentences that we quote from others' texts. When we talk about this is kind of illustrations, that kind of this one, the students, someone who want to quote that kind of any research, any passage, and others. It is the simple one that the plagiarism will be something done is narrow, something done in easy ways. How about the creations? The creation is so far away, has that kind of difficulties. But in this case, we think about the integrity itself. We think about the integrity. Okay, take a look on the spectrums. Yeah, take a look on the spectrum, or I mean, dealing with the type of the plagiarism itself. The first one's that kind of the cloning or submitting another's work word for word as own ones. Control C. That kind of environment, something such kind of text directly in website and others. Just Control C and then Control V contain significant portion of the text from a single source without alterations. Finds that can replace, we try to use the keyboard by H control, then changing the keyword and praise, but I'm retaining the essential content of the source. Remix, paraphrase from multiple sources made to fit together. It will be that kind of the plagiarism spectrum itself, and also recycle, borrowing that kind of generously from the writer's previous work without citation. And take a look on the form of the plagiarism itself. The first one we think about verbatim, I mean word for word. Verbatim questions, quotation itself without clear acknowledgement that quotation must always be identified, such as by the use of a quotation mark or indentations. And with full referencing of the sources cited, it must always be apparent to the reader, which part are your own and then independent work, and um, where you have drawn on someone else's ideas and language. Cutting and parsing from the internet without clear acknowledgements. That kind of information derived from the internet that must be adequate references and included in the bibliography. It is important to evaluate carefully all material found on the internet itself, as it is less likely to have been through the some process of scholarly peer reviews, such kind of as a published sources. And paraphrasing, okay, like this one, the paraphrasing itself. The paraphrasings the works of others by altering a few words and changing their orders, and by closely following the structure of their arguments. It's a plagiarism if you do not give due acknowledgement to the authors whose work you are using. In this case, the passing itself will be a reference to the original authors in your own text that may not be enough. You must ensure that you do not create the misleading impression that the paraphrase itself wording of the sequence of ideas are entirely your own. In this case, that kind of auto plagiarism that you must not submit for assessment that you have already submitted partially or in full, either for your current courses for another qualifications of this or any others, such kind of university, unless this is specifically provided for the special regulation for your course, where your early work by you is citable. For example, it is already been published, you must refer to it clearly. Identical pieces of work submitted concurrently will also be considered to be auto-plagiarisms. Well, the plagiarism itself, as I already explained just now, will be different ways to plagiarize. Take a look on this one, submitting an entire assignment that someone else has written, copying and pasting paragraph and sentence from somewhere else, using your own work from a different essay, and also it will be also different level of intent. That's all the plagiarism itself. Now take a look at the three scenarios that we are going to discuss for this evening. What is actually is and isn't plagiarisms. Take a look on this scenario for the first one. Sarah was new to Maisie. One of her friends, Emily, was a second-year student who had completed the same paper the years before. As she was new and nervous about studying, Sarah asked Emily for help. Emily gave Sarah a copy of her essay for the same paper, and unknown to Emily, Sarah modeled her answer on it by copying a chunk of information. Did Sarah plagiarize or did Emily plagiarize? What do you think about these ones? The verdict one that Sarah definitely plagiarized. But what about Emily? Emily may also be penalized for collusion. In this case, the student who working together to deceive. Whether in this case, Emily didn't know that the model of it's already plagiarized by Sarah. Okay, it could be called plagiarisms. And the second scenario will talk about Thomas. Okay, Thomas found Thomas found a lot of information for his assignment online. He felt he was pressed for time and wanted to do well, so he cut and pasted a lot of the description and detail from various websites into his essay. He did say where he got his information. He didn't say where he did got his information by using in-text citation, but he used exact sentence and paragraph without putting them in his own word. It also called plagiarisms. Definitely plagiarism. Why? Because the information that is copied word for word from somewhere else must be placed in a quotation mark. It is preferable to paraphrase the informations. If using three words in a row from somewhere else, the paraphrase put it in quotation mark even when paraphrasing cite the source. In this case, ladies and gentlemen, for today, there are so many kind of citation managements that we could use, a kind of Antax, and then Mendeley, and then Zotero. And actually, it will be make us as simple as possible to cite by putting the authors, the writers, and others. Okay. Next, their third scenario, Taylor. Taylor wrote her essay based on the note that she has taken from different sources. She read some of the information but couldn't remember where she got it all from. When she was taking notes, she also mostly wrote down word for word what she had read and interposed with a view comment of her own. When she submitted her essay to Turnitin, it came back with a high percentage of matches. Taylor was distraught. Why? As I already explained just now, that all the citations directly put in Taylor's um, um, Simon. So enhancement plagiarism is still plagiarism. Taylor could have avoided by taking various notes, so the notes which are her own word and which are from other sources. So in this case, it will be better to write by your own standards. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, we have to think about the plagiarism itself. Come up in our mind actually, why does plagiarism matters? Let me explain you just this one before we are explaining how to avoid plagiarism itself. Why does the plagiarism matters? As we know that plagiarism is a breach of academic integrity. In this case, it is a principle of intellectual honesty that all members of the academic community should acknowledge the depth to the originators of ideas, word, data, which form the basis for their own work. Passing of another's work as your own is not only poor scholarship, but also mean that you have failed to complete the learning process. In this case, the plagiarism is unethical and can have serious consequences for your better future careers. It also undermines the standards of your institution and the degree it issues. Why we are going to avoid a plagiarism? Why you should avoid plagiarism itself? There are many reasons to avoid plagiarisms. You have come to university to learn, to know, and speak your own mind, not merely to reproduce the opinion of others. At least not without attribution. At first, it may seem very difficult to develop your own views, and you will be probably find yourself paraphrasing the writing itself, and then um, understanding and also assimilate their arguments. However, it is important for us that you learn to develop your own voice. You are not necessarily expected to become an original thinker. I mean, in this case, you are expected to be an independent ones by learning to access critically the work of others, wedge up differing arguments, and also draw your own conclusion. In this case, students who plagiarize undermine the ethos of academic scholarship while avoiding an essential part of the learning process itself. The three ways on avoiding the plagiarism itself for the first one is reference information correctly when in depth cite sources by using a good citation, that kind of um, APA formats, Chicago, IEEE, and others. Yeah. So in this case, we have to make sure what kind of model of citation we are going to use. As I already just explained just now, try to use such kind of Mendeley, Zotero, yeah, and notes for to make sure and make easy for us to cite. And by using this kind of management citation, it will be clear who said what. And then the second one, paraphrase, by using your own word to explain ideas. For example, we have some kind of the definition of qualitative, for example. Okay. But on this kind of definition, the first one we read the definition from the book that quote in Robert Bogdan and Bicklin. The other one we quote from um, John W. Creswell. The other one from that kind of Michael Quinn Patton and others. Okay, based on the three information dealing with the definition itself about qualitative, we are going to write down. We are going to construct a new word, construct a new sentence on explaining new ideas about the qualitative itself. But in this case, the citation based on the three experts itself. By using Mendeley, by using Zotere, it will be easy to use this kind of citations. That's one. Take a good notes to make sure that you already use your own sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, it is better to write a brief summary of the author's overall argument in your own word, indicating that you are doing so, than to paraphrase particular section of his or her writings, to make sure that this will ensure you have a genuine grasp of the argument itself and will avoid the difficulty or paraphrasing without plagiarizing. In this case, you must also properly attribute all material you derive from the lectures. And the next, come up to your conclusions. This can involve unauthorized collaboration between students, failure to attribute a suggestion received, and also failure to follow precise regulation on group work project. That it is your responsibility to ensure that you are entirely clear about the extent of the collaborations permitted and which part of their work that must be your own. Ladies and gentlemen, still in talk about this one on citation sources. Yeah, it will be some kind of inaccurate citation when it is important for us to cite correctly according to the convention of your discipline, for example, as well as listing your sources, for example, in bibliography. In this case, you must indicate a using some kind of footnote and then in note or in text reference where a quoted passage that comes from. In addition, you should not include anything in your reference or bibliography that you have not actually consulted if you cannot gain the access to a primary source. You must make it clear in your citation that your knowledge or the work has been derived from a secondary text, for examples. In this case, you must clearly acknowledge all the assistance itself which has contributed to the production of your work, such as advice from fellow students, laboratory technician, and other external sources. This is need not apply to the assistance provided by your tutor or supervisor or the ordinary proofreading, but it is necessary to acknowledge the guidance which lead us to substantive change of the context or approach itself. And then what can we do to prevent our word of plagiarism itself? As already we explained just now, that it is something that is very crucial dealing with the academic integrity itself. Take a look on these ones. On the plagiarism prevention tutorial, there are so many kind of site that could the students or the participant of this conference try to take a look on these ones. Yeah. Okay, take a look on this one. There's so many kind of items that we could learn from this kind of side. Okay, next on the useful resources. Yeah, on the useful resources, that kind of quizzes and activities, plagiarisms, attitude scale, citation quiz, by using some sources quiz, acceptable use vast fragment size, you be the judge activity and others. Take a look on more detail in plagiarism handbook written by Harris Robat. Okay, and the major of writing style for us, okay, take a look on the model of writing, as I already explained just now, dealing with the model of citation. Such kind of MLA, Performat, Turabian, or Chicago, IEEE, and others. It is something that we have to what's that master, dealing with avoiding the plagiarism itself. To make sure, to make easy, try to use Mendeley or Zotero. Yeah, which one is familiar with you? It will be better to use one of them. Okay. The plagiarism detection tool itself, there are so many kind of application that could use for us to check our similarity itself. One of them will be Turnitin's, and then the other one will be item ticket, and then plagiarism detector. Yeah, there are so many kind of applications, online applications that make us easy to check their the similarity of the tag itself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the participant of their conference, then jump up to the academic integrity itself. Yeah, the academic integrity itself. It will be something that is very important for us, knowing the integrity that is important in all areas of life. Personal integrity is not a quality we're born to naturally. In this case, nurture, practice, and also accountability. Now, take a look on the academic integrity itself. It has never been easier for students to gain information that it is now. The internet has become an essential part of modern education, and for a good reason. In this case, students that we teach have so much knowledge at their fingertip that they can use to write papers and doing such kind of research that we could only dream of when we were at their grade level. But this knowledge comes with some responsibility attached, along with the easy of obtaining information. It has also never been easier to cheat. It is more important than ever for teachers to emphasize academic honesty. Then it is easy for the student to get the idea that the information they gain, they also own. This mistake may not even be any fault of their own. I have seen many students got lost in their sheer amount of information they have, and also and because of the poor of not taking skills, they simply neglect to cite their sources. That it is our job as teachers, it is our job as lecturers to show them how to be responsible on digital citation itself, and give them the skill they need to navigate the pitfalls of the online world. Luckily, there are some steps and tools that we can use to make the online learning environment safer and more honest. As I already explained just now, by using Mendeley, by using Zotero, by using item ticket, by using plagiarism detector, that could help them to make sure that they can do that. They can do easily. The more important thing that honest. Ladies and gentlemen, there are also moral implications of academic honesty because of the vastness of the internet itself. such kind of it is easy to borrow from others and not be held accountable. A considerable amount of teaching time to be spent educating a student and on the moral implication of academic misconduct. Yeah. Um, come to the class on time and do not leave early. It's a kind of academic integrity. Read and do all the assignment. Pay attention in class. Don't be disruptive. Be respectful of others in the class. Do your own work. It is, yeah, some kind of the academic integrity. But in this case, we are going to focus on um the plagiarism itself. Okay, for us, academic integrity for instructors. What about it? The plan class, so it will be worthwhile to students. Do your best to answer question with current information. Honestly to answer when you don't know and get the answer by the next class. We not allow the student to ridicule others on their ideas. Do your best during class time to prepare student or examine some assignment. Carefully monitor exam so the honest student will be not disadvantaged by other students who might choose to cheat. Confirm students if you suspect they have plagiarized or in other ways they might be dishonest. Ladies and gentlemen, on defining academic dishonesty, at origin study academic dishonesty is defined by the origins and the rules as an act of deception in which a student seeks to claim credit for the work or effort of another person or uses unauthorized material or fabricated information in any academic work or research, either through the student's own effort or the efforts of another. This is a kind of the definition of this one. We all want all the students, we all want all the authors knowing that such kind of cheating, such of dishonesty is not going to benefit them in the long term. If we focus too much on the punishment, for example, we neglect to teach them the reason we want them to stay honest. While while we have some good tool for checking for plagiarism, the fact of the matter is that the cheating itself has become easier than ever.
கவனிச்சிங்களா? ஏன் இங்கதான் இருக்கான்னு
Okay.
சொன்னீங்க அவன?
ரப்பர் வச்சிருந்தாங்கல்ல அதனால.
The next ones. Academic dishonesty includes plagiarisms, as I already explained just now, cheatings, assisting, fabrication, and also tamperings. Okay, take a look on one by one. We are going to explain. Yeah, academic dishonesty will be includes this one. Yeah, and then the plagiarism is that, as I already explained just now. The next one is cheatings. Is why use or template use of another's people's and authorities materials, information also to the aid or an act of deceit by which a student attempt to misrepresent mastery of academic effort or information. This include, but it's not limited to, unauthorized copying or collaboration on a task or assignment by using prohibited material and text, then any misuse of an electronic devices or using a deceptive mean to gain academic credit. While for the assessing itself is helping another commit an act of academic dishonesty. This includes, but is not limited to paying or bribing someone to acquire a task or assignment, changing someone's grade or academic record, taking a task, doing an assignment for someone else by any means in others. Yeah, including misuse of an electronic devices, and it is violation of against state law to create an offer to sell but or of an educational assignment to other persons. While the fabrications will be falsification or invention of any information, including but not limited to falsifying research, inventing or in exaggerating the data or listing incorrect pictures references. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look on the dishonesty, why dishonesty happens. Yeah. The first one will be talk about the time management. Yeah. In a limited time, in a limited time, once will be has that kind of shortcut to do anything. And also plagiarism, cheating, and others. Stress and overwhelms, motivation and interest, confusions, competition, lazy, and it's okay to cheat mentality. Yeah, this one will be the item why dishonesty happens. The consequence itself for the dishonesty in academic integrity. The first one, verbal or writing or written warnings. We give a verbals. We give a chunk of um, 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 warning, written warnings. Assignment penalty by giving a 0 grade for the assignment. Academic penalty for the course by giving a lower grade. F grade for the course. Yeah, sometimes no grade of replacement. Yeah, it is the consequence for the honesty itself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the consequence for dishonesty violation consequences may include the first one, removal from your academic majors, removal for academic college, removal to the formal student conduct committee, the reader suspension, and also suspension from the university itself. How about us as authors, as the writers? Suspension in some kind of any journal that we are going to send our articles. And then how about your role in conduct process? The first one, how to protect you. Yeah. Following the first reporting process, it will protect you. Print out the reporting form, review evidence and situation with instructor, level of evidence, meet with the student, level of evidence, and then recommend sanction on a forward. Next items, your role in conduct the process itself. Yeah. Print out the reporting forms. Okay. Review evidence and situation with instructors. We discuss with the instructors dealing with the process of we are going to write and knowing the evidence and meet with the students and then recommend sanction and forwards. And then ways to help prevent academic dishonesty. The first one on that kind of the first class session as a lecturer, we discuss academic dishonesty policy and also the consequences. And then in a group assignment, define boundaries. What is acceptable regarding collaboration for that particular assignment. By using the research, prepare, and writing assignment, clearly define the citation expectation. What kind of expectation that we are going to use by using MLA, by using apa format, or Turabian, and also, for example, Chicago. Describe the plagiarism and also how to paraphrase, and then create brand marks. Give a critical thinking direction to the resource, writing a standard second overport you, and also plagiarism organization, how to check their similarity itself. And next, the ways to help prevent academic dishonesty, that kind of tests and quizzes, reminders regarding academic integrity in tests, avoiding routine testing procedure, give some sense in the same task, and knowing the grade. Okay, and then number exam of copies to make sure that so many kind of test item that one another will be different with the numbers the test item itself. Miscellaneous materials, random seating, check on student ID and errors, observing during tasks, and also scan complete exam to encourage to discourage altering exam scores. Again, to explain you that there's so many kind of work. There's also duty of their teacher or also lecturers to help their student in preventing academic dishonesty itself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is for your students' academic social standards, study skill, reading, testing, and also time management. Take a look on the writing assignment where this will feedback, grammar citation, and also counseling and psychological services in any of the institution or university. And then international education, online resources, and directly we are going to give you summary that plagiarism is presenting the work of someone else and saying it's yours. Avoiding how to avoid accidental plagiarism by referencing properly, developing good ways to paraphrase, and then taking good notes. I think that's all for the material for this evening. Thank you. I back to moderators. There is no sound, my dear moderator.
I'm sorry, sir. Dear Professor, it was a pleasure listening to you. Thank you so much for illuminating us on the need of academic integrity, which is the only way to bring out the original research, and also academic dishonesty, which hinders the authentic research. This was really an illustrative presentation, sir. Looking forward to hearing from you in many more conferences like this in the near future.
Thank
May I
you.
now request the participants to avail the opportunity to pose questions and get clarifications from the resource person. The floor is open to you. If you have any queries, kindly unmute yourself and ask a question. Dear participants, if you have any queries, kindly unmute yourself and ask a question. Hope you have got everything that sir has given us. I think there are no questions. I think so, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session, sir. We'll move on
Thank
to the
you.
next speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, dear moderator Deva, and thank you for all the participants joining with my session. Thank you and good evening from Indonesia.
Good evening, sir.
Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Gopher.
Yes, is there anyone?
No, we just wanted to thank for a very clear, session, very informative to the point. We just, ma'am, if it is possible, sir had given a reference of certain websites and the links which we can follow. So we will get that access, no, or information, or
Hope so, ma'am. Definitely, because the sessions are getting recorded. They may post you, or we may request sir
otherwise, if
to,
at all, sir can share only that slide, we can take a screenshot of that.
yeah, could
Yeah.
you please share this particular
I will.
slide, sir, in which
Okay,
yeah,
I will.
I've already taken the screenshot.
Okay.
Or maybe ma'am can share with us, that is also fine, whatever is good.
Would you please, sir?
Gafur, sir?
Yeah, I will share in chat box.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Ma'am,
Soon.
the
Yeah,
chat box is not available.
just in a
Can you
couple.
make it available for us?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It will be enabled. Just a minute. I request the admins to just enable the chat box. Yeah, it's there.
You can share, ma'am. You can
Yeah,
share.
yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Sir, please share in the chat box.
Yep, I will. Okay, I will. Okay. In a couple of minutes, I share.
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Are there any
Welcome.
members who would like to share the feedback at least on the session? Yeah, they're posting the feedback. Thank you for the enriching lecture, sir.
You're welcome.
So,
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Yep.
Sir, is that plagiarism applicable to review of literature also?
may I
Yeah.
repeat the questions?
Yep.
No. Is that plagiarism applicable to review of literature also in our PhD thesis?
Yeah. Thank you for the questions. When we talk about plagiarism itself, actually we are going to talk about something that done by researchers, and then writers and others and perhaps students. So in this case, when we talk about the plagiarism itself, we are talk about something that's done by them, whether it is some kind of thesis article that dealing with their research outcome and others dealing with literature or any other kind of fiction or others work, it should be called plagiarism if we are taking others' opinion, taking others' ideas without such kind of permission or without such kind of the clear citation that given by the authors itself. It could be called plagiarism. So in this case, we have tried to use our own ideas, and also by using paraphrasing itself, as I give you example just now by using definition of such kind of definition of qualitative given by Robert Bogdan, given by John W. Creswell, and then given by David Noonan for others. So in this case, we try to collect all the ideas by using our own ideas, by using our sentence that we could paraphrasing. But in this case, we have to give the citation itself based on the three expertise that to make sure that we are not plagiarized, but we are use their own ideas by giving our own ideas itself. I think that's all.
Sir, I have a question to you, sir.
Yep.
Sir, this is Sister Selvi. Now, when we paraphrase something from some material from the writer, should we also cite the same thing, sir, or we can, without citing, we can just paraphrase it?
Yeah. There are so many kind of model of we are going to cite. Okay. We could use in this case EndNote. Yeah, EndNote. In this case, we try to use the same text that we quote from the book, that we cite from the book itself. All the sentence will be the same, but do not forget to give in the bracket who is the writers. Then with the clear publication of the year itself, if we use EndNote. But if we use a kind of Turabian or Chicago, we are going to use footnote in at the bottom of the text. So in this case, we are allowed to use any kind of format dealing with the writer itself. If we familiar with APA format, try to use APA format. If we are familiar with MLA, try to use MLA or others. It's on our family itself. But in this case, when we are going to write that kind of journal article, in this case, we have to know first the author guideline, what kind of citation management that allowed to use by the journal itself to to imitated by we are as the writers. That's all, Miss Shirley.
Thank you, sir.
Miss Alfie.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Any more queries from the participants?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Ms. Robin.
Yeah, sir. My name is Merin, and I'm currently doing my PhD in English literature. So, yeah, by the way, your session was really wonderful and it was really helpful.
Thank you.
I just have a very small doubt. Like, is self-plagiarism okay with like everything? Like, for example, if I am actually writing an article and I would really love to add my article to my dissertation. So, will it be okay?
Yeah, that's what we call auto-plagiarisms. Yeah. In this case, what we have done actually by citing our own works to another works, okay, to another work with the same author, we say it is auto-plagiarism. I'm not allow you to do such kind of auto-plagiarism itself. But in this case, actually we have the same objective actually. I mean, to make sure that our readings, our article is cited. For example, if you write some kind of a journals article that they publish in a journal, and to make sure that there are so many kind of H index for the citations, yeah, it is impossible for us to to make sure that all the reader will be signed for our reading. But in this case, we are going to introduce that it is our work. But I'm not allow you to use that kind of auto plagiarism itself, whether that we are really need the a little bit of the sentence. Yeah, but I think I'm not allow you to use that kind of auto plagiarism itself. Yeah, whether that it's ours. Yeah, it is ours. But in this case, in academic integrity, I think it's not suitable for us to use to do that kind of auto plagiarism itself. Thank you, Miss Melly.
Yeah, understood, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Most welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Good evenings, Ms. Mandip.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you for the enlightening session. Sir, I have a question regarding literature review. Like when
Yeah.
we are doing a literature review, what things we have need to keep in mind when we are doing a literature review?
Yeah.
When yes, sir, I have a question like when we are doing a review of literature, at that time, what things we have need to keep in mind?
Okay, thank you for the questions. Actually, that what we already explained in my presentation by using paraphrasing itself. In this case, in the literature review, we are going to explain some kind of the theoretical concept that really need in our written. In this case, we are going to explain some kind of our idea dealing with the concept of, for example, the concept of hybrid learning, for example. In this case, we already read so many kind of books dealing with the hybrid learning itself. In this case, we are going to connect each others by using our own sentence itself. Don't forget to give the citation. I'm allow you to use that kind of Mendeley and also Zotter to make sure that it is to make you easier to connecting each other by using your own sentence, by the paraphrasing that you already done to connect others idea with our idea itself. So in this case we are freely to build some kind of the context of so what's that interpretation, yeah, some kind of interpretation, free interpretation dealing with the concept given by the research, the review of the literature itself. I think that's all. Make sure to be brave in constructing their sentence itself. Thank you, Ms. Mandip.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have one doubt. Can we include thesis in a review of literature?
Yeah.
Thesis will be included in a review of literature.
Yeah. Okay. The first thing that we have to make sure that the literature itself will be dealing with the other product by the writers, or in this case only talking about the literature reviews. When we talk about the literature itself, we are going to talk about something that analyzed by using some kind of critical discourse analysis. Okay, some kind of applied literature. We give some kind of critical analysis on the literature itself, and then we are going to take some kind of grounded theory that we are going to use that kind to analyze this kind of item in the literature. And I mean by using a model of content analysis given by Klaus Krippendorf in the book, that it will be make easy for us to analyze anything dealing with the literature's work itself in such kind of a thesis. I think that's all. That will be some interesting one to talk about the literature's work in analyzing with such kind of the content analysis, such kind of literature review and others. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
So thank you so much, sir, for your uh,
Hello.
clarifications.
Thank
We
you,
have one more
dear
query.
moderators. Thank you.
We have one more query, I think so, sir. Dr. Monica.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
First of all, thank you so much, sir, for such an enriching session.
You're welcome.
I also have a question regarding self-plagiarism. Actually, I have finished my PhD, and like after my PhD, I would like to share my findings and like the work that I have done through the articles. No, so
Yeah.
as you said, like if I do share or do use the things in my PhD or convert it into some articles, will it be self-plagiarism? Point one. And second, if it is self-plagiarism, then how can I avoid it, or how strategically can I share or convert or use my PhD thesis into some of useful articles?
Yeah. Thank you for the questions. Okay. For the first ones, yeah, for the first one, it's some kind of interesting ones to share our dissertation, yeah, our dissertations in some kind of a little bit of the dissertation itself to construct an article that they publish in the journals. So in this case, it is not plagiarism itself. I think it is not some kind of plagiarism. Why? It is something different when we write down a report of the dissertation itself. But in this case, a little bit of ours will be published. Just think about the dissertation itself. It's already published or not. Okay, it is already published or not. If it is unpublished, we have points. Okay, we have a point to share the what's that the outcome, yeah, the outcome of the dissertation itself. I mean, not all the item of the research question in the dissertation going to publish. So make sure that the result of the dissertation itself we are going to publish in some kind of an article in the journals. I think it will be different each other's. The first one we talk about something that write down in dissertation, but the other one we are going to write in some kind of article, journal article that publish in others. So sometimes the universities not publish as online in some kind of the repository of the university itself. So in this case, we have freely to construct a little bit of the dissertation in an article. So I think it's something that interesting for us to publish a little bit of your dissertation in a journal. I think it will be something that different between the article and also the dissertation itself. Okay, I think that's all, Dr. Monica. When we talk about the article that we're going to publish in a journal, it is not something that you could say plagiarism. No, it is not a plagiarism, but it is something that a model for us to show our what's that our product of the dissertation itself. In this case, the dissertation itself is unpublished. Okay, thank you.
So another question. If I publish 3 to 4 articles, suppose if I publish 3 to 4 articles from my PhD thesis to some journals, and also after some years, if I plan to publish my own thesis as well in some place, so will that be plagiarism, or do I have to make changes, or like how is it supposed to be?
Yeah, the most important thing that one another will be different item of article. Okay, for example, you going to write the result of your dissertation into an article. Okay, the other one to another's article. in this case, you have to make sure that the item or the topic of the article itself will be different each others. Okay, different each others. In this case, we are going to publish in some journals that relate with your scope and also the model of others guideline that we are going to use. In this case, I think it is not plagiarism. In this case, you make sure that it will be different each others. Okay, different each other in the context, different each others in the sentence that you are going to use. So make sure that the article you already write and going to publish is different each others. I think that's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. And sir, just last thing, sir, is it possible for you to share your contact for?
I will. Okay, I will. I will share the materials. Okay. And so sorry, I didn't find the attachment.
Sir, again, the
directly.
Okay. Chat box will be enabled, sir, again. I request the admins to enable the chat box for the sir, so that we will post the links. And we have our second speaker waiting. Thank you so much for your clarification, sir.
Thank you.